Hi, this is Deborah Torres, author of Amish Fiction, and I am here to review the book Rebecca's Amish Faith, Amish Heart Restored by Tracy Frederickowski. Now, this book is a sequel to the book Anna's Amish Faith Tested, and it was an incredible book. I've actually have some notes here, and I'm kind of going to go through them. But I do want to tell you that the way that I read this book was a little bit different than the way I normally do. I actually listened to it, and I used an app on my iPhone that was a text-to-speech app, and it allowed me to listen to the book. And I like to take walks, so I listened to Tracy's book while I walked, like the whole thing, part of it. I mean, some of it I was taking trips and listening to it other ways, but yeah, it was just an amazing book, and I kind of want to go through a little bit and kind of unpack it all just to tell you. And it's hard with these reviews because I don't want to tell you the whole thing because I want you to go read it. But I was a little bit skeptical at first about this book just because I read Tracy's book, Emma's Amish Faith Tested, and at the very end, you know, there's a prologue or a chapter 1 to Rebecca, and Rebecca is nasty. She just is not a very nice person, and you can kind of tell from her expression on this book. She's not a very nice person. She's not anyone you'd want to spend time with. She's not anyone her family wants to spend time with. And so, anyway, but you know, there's a journey that we all take, and there's one for Rebecca here as well. And she has deep, deep things inside her heart that are hidden there that are causing her actually to be so unkind to her family. She's protecting her heart. She feels like she's protecting them. And that's why we get just a nasty Rebecca in it. But anyway, I'll just put this down. I'm going to go ahead and lift up my notes that I jotted down pretty much every time that I would listen to a little bit of this story. I went ahead and wrote a little bit of notes down just to jog my memory of what was happening and what I was learning. So anyway, just Rebecca starts with a really interesting storyline with an elder care. She is called in to help this woman, Mary, who is the grandmother of Eli in the book. And she is called into as sort of a nursemaid for Mary because she's at the end of her life and she has some physical needs. So I really love that part of the book. I thought Tracy Frederickowski handled that really well. There were, you know, physical needs that Mary had that were difficult to deal with, but she handled them with respect and discretion. And I really like that part, and care and love. So. And truth, too, really true to heart of how someone might feel in caring for someone who's struggling in that way. So that was really good. I love the part with Mary. And I reached out to the author, actually. Tracy and I are friends, and I reached out to her and I told her that the part where she talks about the older Mary in the book, she reminded me so much of a book that Francine Rivers wrote. I think it was called Leota's Garden. And anyway, just kind of brought some really special memories of just Leota and Francine Rivers' book, and just Mary and the elder care that Rebecca has to care for her. So anyway, back to Rebecca. She is caring for Mary and learning a lot along the way. Mary has a lot to teach her, some secrets to share with her, some special things that she really wants her to know. So anyway, not gonna ruin the story for you there, but just a great story. I love the book. I love the part about Rebecca and just how she grew through the book. There's scenes in books where you read it and it's just like, I wish, she could resolve it right now. It'll be now. And Tracy just kept holding me like this, as a reader, soon, but not yet, just like really in real life, how God teaches us things, or God works in us, changes us little by little. It's not all at once. We're used to this microwave society. Let's get it done really fast. And that's not how it happens. That's not how it, and Tracy, real life, didn't let it happen that way either. It was a slow go for Rebecca, a slow change. just a really, really sweet change. And there were parts in this story, I have to confess, and I think I told Tracy this, that tears just came to my eyes. There were parts where it was just like so real and so raw, and it touched my emotions. And, as I was walking and listening to the book and just like crying, it was kind of like that, but in a good way. It was a good way for just seeing healing happen. And as you probably know, that throughout these books, there is a certain theme that Tracy has going, and that is just evangelism and the Amish people in the Willow Springs community, some of them being plucked out from under the ordinance and learning really what it means to love Jesus and have him as their Lord and Savior. And so Tracy in this book is just kind of bringing some things together, plucking out the sheep as she goes. And so there's some incredible, incredible parts of this story where you're really seeing some things that happen in some Amish culture, some Amish districts, not all, but some, where, they just don't know the Lord. And some of these people in Willow Springs have come to a personal relationship with Jesus, and they're actually hiding it from their community in the beginning, having secret Bible studies, secretly studying the English Bible, which some of them aren't allowed to do. They only have the German Bible, and a lot of them don't know German, so they don't really get to read the Bible. So there's just eyes opening in this book. And let me just see if there's anything else that I wanted to make sure that I brought out without telling you the story. There is a lot of forgiveness in the book. There's a great scene where Eli and Rebecca are talking about fatherhood. And there's some strong truth in there about their own fathers and some maybe the disappointments that they felt, and why, how, maybe our fathers make mistakes, but that doesn't have to shape who we are and what, hovers over us the rest of our lives, but through forgiveness, we can go on and walk in freedom in our own lives and in love for our family. So I love that part. There's some scenes where there's just some final breakthrough, which I really love, but I'm not going to share with you that part. Let's see. There's, we talked about that, the elder care and the secret sharing of the gospel in the closed community. There is an end scene in the book, again, where I just was ready to start sobbing because it's so good. And again, it just talks about a church blossoming, out of this community, a church that loves Jesus and a church of community members. One thing I love that Tracy does in this book is, if you've read her books, you realize that she is developing a whole community of Willow Springs, and she is developing pockets of families in Willow Springs. So it's not like, how sometimes when you finish reading a book and you're done, and it's like you feel sad because you won't be in their lives anymore, or they won't be in your life anymore, because it always feels like people are in your life when you're reading the book. Tracy's books keep going, and as they go, she brings up characters that you were in their lives in a different book, and then she brings up characters in this book that were in other books. I read her book Love Blooms in the Apple Blossom Inn, and there were characters that popped up in this book, the Rebecca book, that I grew to love in the Love Blooms book. And so that was just really super cool. And again, the Emma's, Amish Faith Tested, they show up in this book as well, because Emma is in the family with Rebecca and Anna. It's always wonderful to read Tracy's books. I'm super excited. I'll be working on a book. I'm working on a book with her currently that will be releasing this December. 2022, an Amish Christmas in the Apple Blossom Inn. So I am also entrenching in the Willow Springs community, enjoying some of the characters there. And so anyway, just another wonderful book in the women of the Lawrence County Amish women for the were written by Tracy Frederickowski. I believe she's got 10 books. So these are the first 2 of the 10. The next one is talks about Rebecca's sister, Anna. So I read a little bit of the prologue about that, and that sounds exciting too. I love it how Tracy picks individual issues that people deal with, they may struggle with, or bondages that may be over them, for each book, so that we can kind of see, you know, people progressing through situations and walking in freedom. So her next one deals with Rebecca's twin sister, Anna. So that one sounds interesting too. Anna's having a panic attack in the middle of the mercantile, or the middle of the grocery store there in Willow Springs. So I wonder what's going to happen with Anna in the next book. So that'll be exciting to watch too. So anyway, thanks so much for watching my video. I do recommend Tracy's book, in the second one in her series, and I highly recommend it. And I look forward to the third one. And we'll see you on the next Amish book review.